A new day it is, and a very warm welcome to the site. My name is Mugalu Jeremiah, and I'm back again today to talk about anything in the world of cricket. Not anything, but everything, I would say. Anyway, besides me is Dennis Musali, and we are going to be talking about a couple of issues about the ICC Cricket World Cup Challenge League B that is going to be taking place in Hong Kong. This is going to be the second round, and we would not like to miss anything. Of course, the site is the place to get whatever thing you would need about cricket. Let Dennis introduce himself so that we can ride on to get to know more.
Hi everyone, and all of everyone who's watching. My name is Dennis Musali, and I'm the communications manager for Uganda Cricket Association. We extensively previewed the Challenge League, the first round of the Challenge League last year, and we are back again to make sure we give you everything that you want to know about what is going to happen in the second round in Hong Kong.
Yeah, we are very glad as the site that whenever we would make a call, you are present to say, here I am. So today, we are going to be diving into some action. But anyway, before the ICC Cricket World Cup Challenge League B second round, we are having a tournament in between theirs so that we can know how our boys stand, so that our boys can get to know more about the other teams, how they stand during this period of time. We want to dive into that and get to know what is this and how is it going.
Okay, Jeremiah, but before we continue, let me just digress a little bit. I think I want to give a special shout out to the man behind the camera, who's also the producer of this show, Kaketo Gozaga, winning the Journalist of the Year at Awards 2024. I think it's good to make sure that we give him his flowers whilst for the good work he's done over the years, not just last year, but I think it was a cumulative effort from all the time for all the time and effort he's put in cricket. For people who come from outside cricket, take their time to learn the game. For example, for him as a videographer, for him to know what moments would work for news, what should be shown, and things like that. That means he's putting the effort to make sure that he learns the game, what is good for TV, what is not good for TV. So we greatly appreciate as Uganda Cricket, and hopefully he can continue. We know he has a bias to another sport, but he's given cricket equally the same amount of time. And Kaketo, please, congratulations. And for the viewers may not know, but I just wanted to get that out of the way. But to talk about the Tri-Series tournament in Hong Kong, it's a three-nation tournament: Uganda, Bahrain, and the host Hong Kong. The team got together on the 12th of January. So, I mean, 12th January, and they left on the 26th, on the 25th, actually, not 26th. So they hadn't had so much time to train together as a group since they broke off from last year. Last year, after the Challenge League being in Kampala, they spent about just 2 days in Kampala, and then they had to go to Kigali for the ILT 20 tournament, which ended on the 18th. Then everyone, of course, was given a break to go for the holidays, to be with their families, and then they could only get back together from the 12th. From the 12th is when they started their skills training, what we call skills training. You go and bat and take catches. But before that, they had spent a whole week working with Emmanuel Oroma, who is our S&C conditioning coach, just try and lose some of that Christmas food and all. So they started training together from the 5th. But the skills training started on the 12th. In between there, they had just 2 warm-up games, just 2 internal, practice games, and then they had to go to Hong Kong. So the Tri-Series was important for them to try and get some competitive cricket as a unit. And the coach greatly appreciated this because that allows his boys to get used to the conditions. And from the first game we watched very early the other day, I think it was Monday, we realized that it is very, very cold in Hong Kong. This sort of cold where you see the sun, but it is actually cold. So we saw a lot of the players putting on sweaters. That shows it is very cold. Actually, some of them, when they were fielding the balls, you could see after fielding, they would do their hands like this to show that it's painful to even do to be a fielder right now. I think only Fred Achelam is comfortable because he has gloves. But the rest of the weather is a bit cold. They told me it's about 10 to 15 degrees. That doesn't sound much, but when you come from the tropics, where on average we're about 21. When it goes to 25, we start complaining, government etuyambe, things like that. So we're in the tropics, we are used to 21, 22. So 10 and 15, I've experienced it before. It really gets a bit cold for you. And when it is cold, we saw what happened to the captain, Riyazat Alisha. Couldn't continue with his batting innings because he got cramps. And he mentioned in the post-match interview that he hadn't taken a lot of water. And it's also difficult because it is cold, you're not sweating too much. So it is difficult for you to just keep chunking water. But I think the physio will have to find a way of ensuring that the boys stay hydrated to make sure that they don't get into. You don't want something like that to happen in the tournament, and those are the advantages of going there earlier on. Imagine that happened in a game against probably Italy or Hong Kong that we need to win, and then you somehow you lose the game because of not being used to those conditions. So for such conditions, that means it is advantage Hong Kong because they're at home. Bahrain, probably they also understand the weather a little bit. They have the seasons in their weather, and Singapore. So Uganda and Tanzania, for us who come from the tropics, Tanzania extremely hot weather in Dar es Salaam. We are the ones who might suffer a little bit because Italy, at least the Italians also have some bit of winter in Europe. So it's going to be a challenge, but now we see the advantages of why. And the result won't matter much. But the process through which the team goes through in this tri-series is what will give them the lessons they can carry into the tournament when it starts on February the 4th.
February 4th, you say. And at this point of time, today is 29th, 30th. I think that 30th. 29th. But today we have no game.
Yeah.
But previously, in the first game of a tri-series, there is one thing that I observed is that we used more of pace bowlers than the spinners. Why is it that way?
Yeah, that's a very good observation. The team, yes, you're right. They play, how do they call it? Because now in Hong Kong, they're already in another day. But we have a game early morning today starting at 4 a.m. So we have a game on Friday morning. Well, ideally, we call it Friday morning. But usually, Jaja likes to say, things like that. But it will be early morning tomorrow when we get to play again. But the thing is, and you've made a very, very good observation, I think one of the things that we were told about the conditions in Hong Kong is that their wickets favor a lot of seam bowling. Seam bowling are the pace bowlers. So you would see most likely players like Juma Miyagi, Cosmas Cheuta will play all the 5 games because these conditions are suited to them. Whereas when we were in Kampala, some games we used Juma Miyagi, other games we used Cosmas because the wickets in Uganda are slower and they take a lot of spin. So when I say they take a lot of spin, means they are favorable to spinners. So we had a lot of Henry Senyondo, Alpesh, Franco bowling in Kampala because the conditions favor them. But when you go to Hong Kong, and that's why I think Franco was left out, the wickets there favor the seamers. So we saw for the first time Kenneth Waiswa getting a chance to bowl because the wicket can offer him something. And the couple of overs that Henry Senyondo bowled, despite the fact that he was one of our best bowlers in Kampala, he went for quite a number of runs. And the other thing was that it's a small ground as well. The boundaries are not as big as Ugandan boundaries. So smaller boundaries, when you bowl spin and a wicket that doesn't have a spin, then you're working against yourself. So the team will have to find a way of making sure that Juma and Cosmas picked 4 wickets, 4 for 52. I think he was the best bowler. It means that Juma and Cosmas have to come to the party for them, especially when they get to the main tournament when it starts off. So that, from your observation, I think that's the answer I can give. That the conditions in Hong Kong favor a lot of seam bowling. That's why a lot of people are wondering why Bilal didn't make the team, because they thought now maybe this would be an opportunity for him. But Kenneth Waiswa and Riyazat Alisha are 2 other bowling options who can bowl a bit of medium pace and can take advantage of the conditions. So I think the team decided, instead of carrying an extra bowler, you would rather use one of your all-rounders, either Kenneth Waiswa or Riyazat Alisha, to bowl those extra overs. They share them among themselves. The extra 10, Kenneth can bowl 6, or Riyazat 4, Riyazat 6, Kenneth 4. So you try and balance it out in such a way that because the both of them are batters, you would rather rely on their batting skill rather than taking someone who's just going to do one skill. So you rather rely on the players who have both skills and can be useful in a game.
Going into our next question. I'll talk about the experience that is on the team and young blood that is on the team. What would you have to say about the mixture, team chemistry and experience?
Yeah, Cyrus Kakuru and I think those are the two guys you're speaking about. Cyrus Kakuru and Joseph Baguma. Joseph Baguma was with the team when they played the ILA T20 Cup in Rwanda, so he's not very new to the setup. He was also part of the team that won the Africa Cup in 2002 in South Africa, so he's also not. He's been around the team. The difference for him is that he had never played an ICC tournament, but he's played these other tournaments with the team. So he's not a stranger to the whole group. They know what he can do. Cyrus Kakuru was part of the team that qualified us to the World Cup in Namibia. He has also been around the team. So Cyrus has a little bit more experience in terms of ICC events rather than Joseph Baguma. But both of them clearly pickings for the future. Players selected with the future in mind, not players selected to basically play in this tournament. But if they are required, they should be able to do well to cover. Joseph Baguma, a brilliant off spinner, very, very good all-rounder. He bowls spin very well, but can also bat. Cyrus Kakuru, a keeper batter, so he has something to give you with the bat. And the coach mentioned that Cyrus was taken because they are going to play a total of 9 50-over games on that tour, and sometimes it is difficult for one wicket keeper to carry all that load. So in case Achelam breaks down, there is someone to back him up. You don't want, because in the rest of the players, none of them can keep wickets. You don't want maybe Achelam waking up not feeling well, and then you have to make a phone call to Kampala. Hey, please say that's Jeremiah. By the time you get to Hong Kong, it's about 18 hours. Remember, you haven't acclimatized with the situation. You're not used to the weather. You also get there, and then the weather is not treating you very well. So you're sort of taking the team back. So Cyrus Kakuru was taken as a backup wicket keeper. Maybe he will play one of the games that they are playing right now. And Baguma, I really don't think he will play that much because we already have 3 spinners in the team, all of them ahead of him. And we've just spoken about it that those are not spinning conditions. So we are very unlikely, it's very, very unlikely that Uganda is going to use 3 spinners in one game. So I think he's been given an opportunity to experience cricket at that level. With the future in mind, he may be part of the team that goes to Zimbabwe for the T20 qualifiers, may be part of the team for the 3rd round. So they're just preparing him for the next steps to make sure that whenever he's given an opportunity, he's ready and he's been here before.
You've talked about Cyrus and wicket keeping. There's a conversation I would like to take you through. I had it with my good friend Ivan C. Sajabi. And it was all about, yes, we very well know a wicket keeper cannot be a bowler. Of course, he has to be a batter. But is there so much pressure that a wicket keeper should be bringing a lot of runs into a game more than any other player on the team?
Yes, you're speaking to something that is very close to my heart. I was a keeper batter when I used to play that much. And these days the role has even evolved so much that most teams pick batters who can keep. In the past, maybe when I played, it used to be keepers who can bat. Now it is different. It is batters who can keep, meaning they are putting a higher price on your runs than actually your wicket keeping. So you would say it's very, very, it's difficult. International teams don't have the luxury of picking specialist players anymore. So when you pick a person who is a specialist, means you've picked someone who can give you something on only one skill. Cricket has 3 skills: bowling, batting, and fielding. So if I pick Jeremiah because he's only a good keeper, meaning I'm missing out on the other 2. Okay, maybe I've taken care of fielding, but I'm missing out on batting. Yet, if I can pick Dennis, who can bat and keep, I'm taking care of all the 3 skills. You understand? So teams have gone away, have started putting a price on both skills, especially for wicket keepers. But in the past, it used to just be like, as long as you have a tidy keeper, we are in business. Because a tidy keeper is like a good goalkeeper. They normally say a good goalkeeper can win you 3 games a season from the number of saves he's made. Same thing as a wicket keeper. If you have a good wicket keeper, he can save you a lot of runs, stopping byes, effecting dismissals, taking half chances. But now teams have gone away from sort of, I can miss out on that and then get something out of this. So that's why wicket keepers now need to be batters. They pick batters who can keep, not keepers who can bat. In the past, it used to be keepers who can bat a bit. At Ekumi is okay. But now it is, we want a batter who can give us 80 and also take the easy chances. The hard ones, we shall forgive him. But if he can be able to give us 80 and also take the decent chances. But in the past, it used to be, we want him to take even the difficult chances and also take the regular ones. And he also gives us like a 20. Or if you have a long batting lineup, for example, like Uganda, we have a very long tail. You feel like the keeper's runs are negligible. But then that doesn't, things don't work like that anymore. Teams want keepers who can be able to contribute with the bat. That's why even bowlers now have started being asked to contribute runs. So if Jeremiah is a good bowler and a batter, he will get in the team ahead of Dennis, who's just a good bowler. So that is where I think we spoke about it that time on our review. That's where the argument was always about why Senyondo is in the team. Because for him, he's very, very strong on one skill, but a bit weak on the others. So for him, it is harder for him to make the team compared to someone like Alpesh, because he needs to make sure that every time he's bowling, he's doing things that another person cannot do. Otherwise, if he's doing average things, then it's very easy to get him out of the team.
He must be so extreme.
Yes, he has to be exceptional to the skills. So that's how I would explain it. So that now, because teams are trying to make sure, I was in Kenya last year for the Challenge League A, and for example, like Denmark, everyone in the team up to number 11 used to bat. So meaning until you get out number 11, they can still win the game. So that's how teams are lining themselves up. But before, it used to be in case like you can only win the game up to your number 6. After that, Baliba bowler, there's no contribution. Teams have gone away from that because they know your batters can take you to up to a situation where we need 20 runs to win. But Jeremiah is there, Jeremiah can't bat. But imagine you need 20 runs to win and Jeremiah can bat. So meaning the batters have done the bulk of the work, then Jeremiah can be able to finish off the job for you. So even you see it in international cricket, Kakiso Rabada, those are guys now who can properly bat. Rabada was winning the test match for South Africa the other day to qualify for the World Test Championship. Pat Cummings, the captain of Australia, they can bat. So the game has changed in such a situation that every one of the 11 should be able to contribute.
A good time to be alive. Dennis is the teacher today. I'm the student. I don't know if you out there are also learning something. But back to the ICC Cricket World Cup. There is more to what we can get. Of course, the main target at this point of time is the ODI status. But what can you talk about the development of these young boys? We talk about their tournaments. Yes, they have the under-19, they have the what, but now they are grown. We have been talking about the two who have gotten into a side. The previous time they were reserves. So you get that feel that this time round they are growing each and every day. And they are bringing at least a performance that can give the coach headache in the trainings, so that he can say, okay, you know what, this boy should be on the team, this boy should be a team. So how much more can we do on the development side, both in the tournament and out of the tournament?
No, I think our development work, we have a lot of work to do in our developments. I don't know how to even best say it, but we have a lot of work to do. And especially if you see it from our pathways. We lose a lot of players, and not because our development program is not producing players, but we lose a lot of players, especially after Cricket Week. We don't have anything between Cricket Week and joining the national team. So for you need to be very good to come out of school to get into the national team. That's how Juma Miyagi got in and Pasco. But if we had pathways, they would help other players. They would absorb the players who are coming from our development system and try and help them develop into national team players. That is where our disconnect is. We're still trying to figure it out, but we saw the Uganda A team going to Kigali last year. Those are the opportunities now. That players like Nsubuga Siraji, Stephen Wabose, Calvin Watua, they score a lot of runs here locally, but because they are not yet at that level, it's very difficult for them to make the step up. But then if they are not, what happens to them? So you need to create opportunities for them, especially in those pathways, for them to stay active, to keep improving on their games, to keep learning, and also have many coaches. So it's even along that path, even the coaches are still lacking. We have, I think, just about 2 coaches who have a level 3 certificate. The level 3 is the level at which you become a national team coach. So, but there are guys who are studying it. I think they should be able to get it. Jackson Ogwang, Emmanuel Isanez, Grace Mutiagawa, Davis Torinawa. Those are the few people with it. But others are coming. So the development still needs a lot of work because there's a big gap between schools cricket and international cricket. The under 19 boys this year are going to go to Nigeria in March to try and qualify for the World Cup. But then they are playing at their peers at that level. But that's just a simple test. If they pass it sometimes and they go to the World Cup, then it shows you maybe development, we are doing some work. But it is a bit deceptive because not all of them eventually get into the national team because they're not good enough. So there's still a lot of work to do in our development. But we just need to be innovative, find ways in which we can help our talent improve. Because sending them away is also very expensive. It's not easy to say, okay, now let's send Jeremiah to England. He spends a season and comes back. He won't get a visa. He needs a special type of visa to play there. When you want to go to Zimbabwe, even Zimbabwe guys have their own, underdevelopment people they want to work with. But they've been giving us opportunities in the past. But for us to send you there and spend a whole season, we have to look after you when you're down there, things like that. So there's a lot of work. The solutions have to first be from here. And the development team I know they work very hard. And within the resources they have to make sure that we have homegrown players who are feeding into our national team. So there's still a lot of work to do, but if we can find a way of managing those pathways, the easiest thing to do is to try and compete within the region. And I think that's what we used to do in the past. When I used to play, you play with Rwanda, you go and play with Kenya, you go and play with Tanzania. At that level, players are still young and, they want the experience. So it is easy for them to get on a bus, get to Nakuru and play, get on a bus, go to Kigali and play, get on a bus, go to Dar es Salaam and play. So you somehow give them an opportunity to learn, not to learn in the deep end, but to learn how to play international cricket, softly, rather than coming straight out of schools cricket. Next thing you know, it's actually good team. But because they went there at that level, for example, the Challenge League, you play only 5 games, and each game is like a final. So there's too much pressure for you. There's no time for people to learn. You need to go there when you're ready. So there's still a lot of work to do for the development team, and hopefully that as one of the things that took us back was that COVID time, the 2 years where we didn't have schools at all, but we're still trying to recover from that. We see what other sports are doing. For example, I see what the Uganda secondary schools what do. They have activities the whole year, so we need to try and evolve as well, try and catch up with the time, make up for lost time by ensuring that we fast track this talent that there's so much talent in this country, but for us to give them opportunities is where we're still lacking, and hopefully that as an association we can be able to find a way.
You have talked about the USSA, the Uganda schools, senior secondary schools. It involves secondary schools and young children, and they do have activities throughout there. But if there's a sport I know that is not there, cricket is one of them. But I see in a similar way there is another tournament on the cricket calendar, which is the schools cricket week, and it is kind of similar to what they have. However much that for it's a little bit shorter. Which things can we put in place so that these young children have to compete in such an environment?
And it's not like we don't want to be part of USSA. I think it's just the complexities of being together. I think we normally, last year I think we were in Soroti, and USSA also had games in Masaka, where they had the big number of people who are playing football. I think it was in Masaka. Then there were people in Deji as well. So it's just the complexities, but I think we are more or less together, because the schools that compete in other different sports with them come and compete with cricket as well. I think one of the things, The challenge with cricket for schools is the support, and UCS support can only go so far because cricket is an expensive sport. Just the equipment, you need specialized trainers. If it is football, maybe I can also try and put together a training session for football. I may not be an expert, but we can try. But then in cricket, you need specialized coaching. So you need to help you need to help schools not just with equipment but with coaches as well to teach the game. So one of the things we're trying to do is make sure we get as many teachers as possible to learn the game, because when the teacher learns a skill, whichever school they go to, they will be able to be an extension of you in that particular school. But we just need to make sure we improve. The schools competition is our flagship competition, by the way. We can do we can fail to do everything else in this country, but we can never fail to do the schools cricket week, both for girls and boys, because it's our flagship tournament, and we're grateful for people like Skyview who've seen value in it and have supported it for the last 2 years. So there's still a lot of work to do with the schools, but rest assured, schools is our. Cricket cannot coexist without the schools. All our players come from those systems; they come from those pathways. So for us, it is just important that we maintain a relationship, a very good relationship with the schools. Our plan right now, we are in 6 regions of the country. Northeast, which is the Soroti area, Nile region, Jinja, Central, which includes Luwero, Ndeje, Western, Fort Portal, Kasese, Masaka, which is Masaka anyway, Greater Masaka, all over Masaka, which one have I for, and Gulu region. We're in Gulu, and this year the girls tournament will be in Gulu, but Gulu now has extended to Lira, so there's cricket going to start in Lira, and later on Arua this year. So we have we've made sure we want to, in the next 3 years, we want to be in at least 10 regions of this country. 10 regions will allow us to cover at least 70%, 75% of the country, which is a requirement from National Council of Sports as well. So we're trying our best to make sure we reach our reach. Helps us to deal with the numbers, with the quantities. Then the qualities will be worked on. The quantities can be taken. I mean, the quality can be taken care of later, when we have the numbers that we want to make sure that we can carry the game forward.
It is a good thought, and it's a conversation I think we can have till tomorrow, so long as it deals with youth development. But of course, back to the ICC Cricket World Cup Challenge League, the second round. It's something that I would like to emphasize, a second round. We have been talking about the tri-series, and I would like us to get to know that was it very, very important for this team to be in this tri-series ahead of this tournament, because you get that feel that at some point these bodies may be a little bit tired.
Yeah, I've seen the worry even on some cricket forums where people are worried maybe the guys are going to play so many games. 50 over cricket is brutal on the body. You spend the whole day in the sun. Now it is even cold. You spend the whole day in the cold. You cannot wait to go back to your room and be under your blanket and take some tea. So we hope that, but like we've mentioned where we started this conversation from, that the tri-series was important to acclimatize. Like I've told you, imagine getting there and finding out that it is very cold. Then you pull a muscle in, you get cramps in one of the most important games that we need you, or where the team needs you to step up. When you get cramps, it's like your whole body is numb by that way. Even say guys say, take water, everything just becomes stiff. So I think it was a good opportunity for them. What the coach needs to do is to manage the players. If you use the same guys you want to use in the tournament to play all 4 games, then you may be in trouble, because by the time the tri-series ends on 3rd, the tournament starts on 4th. So the tournament starts on 4th. Okay, they will play their first game on, I think, the 7th. But there may not be enough time for the guys to rest. So you want to make sure that you keep rotating. You keep the guys fit and keep resting them, keep changing things around to make sure that you don't tire the guys in the tri-series. And by the time the tournament starts, they're all tired and their bodies are weak. So, and it was also for competition purposes. The guys hadn't gotten a lot of competitive cricket when they were in Kampala. So they needed to test themselves against a different opposition. The core of that group remained the same from the first round of the Challenge League. But, you lose something when you're not playing. So I think it was important for them to go for this tri-series. I would rather focus on the good things than the bad ones, in my opinion.
Yes, you would, and it's obvious you would, because uh, you are UCA at this point of time. So the picture of UCA is all on you at this point of time. But uh, we have been here before. We have talked about the team with Ivan Sajabi, uh, the whole lineup of the boys. But which key players should we watch for this second round?
For this second round, like I've mentioned, from the team that played in Kampala, I think the core is the same. Just two people missing, Brian Masaba and Pasco Morungi. Pasco didn't play any game in Kampala. Brian opting not to be not opting out of selection, so he missed out on that. And Brian had played a couple of games in Uganda. I think he played 3, but opting out of the team. And I think the biggest miss from Brian Masaba will be his leadership. He's been Riyazat Ali Shah closest ear, but without him, then Riyazat Ali Shah has to find his own inner strength, especially when it is leadership around on the pitch, because you would always see Brian trying to tell him, maybe let's try this and things like that. But the rest, which is really ideally the core of that team, is the same. Dinesh Nakarani, all of them are in. Kenneth Weiss is fit. He didn't play the last games here because he was unwell, but Kenneth Weiss is fit and is in the team. Ragav and Mangela are also at the top order. I think for me, the Uganda's performances will not change so much from what they were in Kampala. I think what will change is going to be, like we've mentioned when we were starting, that the conditions are different. So different bowlers are going to come to play or will be required to deliver the goods for the team. While our spinners picked the most wickets in Kampala, Alpesh and Henry Senyondo, between the both of them, I think they picked 24 wickets. Now it is going to be different. It is the pace bowlers who will have to do the job. So the players we need to watch out for, how is Juma Miyagi, how is Cosmas Chauta. If anyone watching is their fan or they are friend, you need to keep encouraging them. Take a lot of water, take tea to stay warm. So those are going to be key players for us, especially if they bowl well. They have the pace, they have the ability to cause a threat. In that particular game, the first one, Fred Achelam finished with 5 field dismissals. 4 of them were catches caught behind. If I remember correct, he didn't take any catch in Kampala. That shows the difference in the conditions already. So Juma Miyagi and Cosmas Cheuta going to be very, very important, especially in enforcing things. And remember, for them, if they don't get us to a good start, or if they don't pick wickets, if they don't make early inroads, that means Riyazat Ali Shah has to go to himself, Kenneth Waiswa, Dinesh, or any of the spinners to try and make up for things. Yet those are players who can be easily targeted, and for the other team to score runs. So the key players for me, I feel, in this tournament are going to be Juma Miyagi and Cosmas Chauta, and I hope and pray that they stay strong and fit, and they can be able to bowl that fire that we know they have the ability to. The rest of the guys, if they perform to the level that we expect them to do, they should be able to come up with the goods. Riyazat Ali Shah got 84 in that game. Kenneth Weiss got 43. And you hope that Ragav struggled a bit in Kampala. Maybe those were nerves, playing for the first time at home in front of a crowd. He must have been nervous. But we know he has the potential and the ability to do well. So hopefully away from home, no hostile fans, you're in your own comfort zone. I hope that he can also be able to score some runs, as well as Shrideep Mangela and Robinson Obuya. So, but out importantly, the 2 key players for me will be Juma Miyagi and Cosmas Chauta.
Dennis has picked out the pace bowlers to do the difference of a team. But going on to the games, of course, the same teams that we had here competing with us are the same that we are going to face their side. But Hong Kong, I think, had a little bit of a problem on that day when it rained. I don't know if it saved us or if it saved them from us. But this time round, we are facing them in their home country, let me say. It's home ground, home everything. Do you think that they are going to pose much of a challenge to us?
I remember after the rain, someone was saying it must have been, I think, my son or one of my daughters, because they came to see the game. And one of them must have said, Daddy, ane because it looked like Hong Kong was going after us very, very much. But even in the warm-up game we played against them, we won by 3 wickets? And we needed to find the winning runs off the final ball. That shows you that, and they've changed their team a bit. And speaking about the conditions, they've added one very good pace bowler in there. I saw him bowling. And if you look at the fixtures, we play Bahrain first, then we play Hong Kong and Italy, which are our two key games, back to back, and on 2 days. I think 13th and 14th, Valentine's Day. But I think they don't have a game on Valentine's Day. But we play them back to back, and in 2 days. That is in 2 days. So you play Hong Kong today, and then tomorrow you have to play Italy, which I felt was a bit unfair, because those are the two key games for you. When you lose one game, then you get into the next with a bit of pressure to try and make up for yesterday. You make mistakes and then you go down. But if you lose one game, you go in tomorrow and you think you're a bit relaxed that if I can afford a loss, but I'll take a win. I want a win, but I can afford a loss because it won't leave you in a bad place. So those two games are going to be very key because, like you've mentioned, Hong Kong in Kampala, it rained. The thing, it was a no result, but the ball was in the midfield. It didn't end in our half or their half. And then even the game against Italy in Entebbe, Italy, clearly Uganda were not very convincing in that victory. It's only after Henry Senyondo came on to bowl is when we were able to win the game, but Italy were virtually in control of that game from ball number one. We don't know what sort of team they are going to bring, maybe, but they have a couple of players who are playing in the Big Bash League, the Australian Big Bash League. I don't know if they're going to be part of the team. We haven't seen it yet. But for me, I'm confident from what the boys did in Kampala. If they show up, I think one of the biggest things about the Kampala League was that in each and every game, Uganda was able to show up. We scored the runs. When the pressure was on, we were able to, even if our backs were against the wall, we were able to find a way and win a game. So if the boys show up, they need to take the belief. Because now advantage is Uganda. Advantage can't be the other guys. They're the ones who want to beat us. So they have a bigger point to prove than we are. For us, we know that if we do what we know that we can do, we shall be able to get a result. So I'm still very confident that even if Hong Kong is at home, we can still be able to get over the line, as well as Italy. So those teams are the ones chasing us. We're not chasing them. We're on top of the table with 9 points. So whoever is chasing you, the pressure is on them to make sure that they can be able to defeat you. So, but if you look through, we finished the tournament with Tanzania. If you look through the fixtures, those 2 days are going to be the defining days for the team in Hong Kong. But I have faith and belief that as long as the team is healthy, we shall get the result that we want.
When has Dennis never had the belief? I think it is a question that my brother Franklin Kaweru would ask if he was seated right here next to me. When has Dennis never had the belief? But to side with him, I think all those teams are all there to beat us because we are on top of that log. Everyone wants to get on top of that, but of course a few can. I think in contention we do have Hong Kong, and we also have Italy right behind us. But you get that feel that, anyway, on my side, I think Italy is the team for us. Yes, we were so close. Oh, they were so close to us while we were playing that game in Entebbe. But of course, there are some conditions I felt that they couldn't match up to us. Anyway, I don't know if it was because of a support and what. But still, when you get to see the way we lined up, I feel that we were a better side on the day. But Italy, let's talk about Italy. The team to look at this point of time, different conditions. I don't know if in the Australian League is more of that kind of weather, but still, you get that feel that they are the team to look at this point of time. 1 or 2 words about Italy.
Yeah, and I'll tell you one of the things about, you see, 10 and 16 degrees when you come from the tropics is very cold. I think we were in Zimbabwe 2022, and the weather was a bit similar. But you'd see the Dutch guys, I think it was Netherlands and the US, they were always very happy. They would even walk around in shorts when for you in sweaters. Hey, what are you doing? You want to commit suicide? So for them, the weather will not affect them because for them, they see that it's as summer weather, proper. It's just a cold wind, but it's not cold. So I think the weather won't affect them a lot. But Italy were very, very solid in Kampala. Very, very solid. I think they were even unlucky to finish on 7 points because one of the games was washed out. They should have finished on 8 maybe. But one of their games was washed out in Logogo. I forgot it, I think against Bahrain. Against Singapore or Bahrain, one of them was washed out. But they were very, very solid in Kampala. If they do the same, if they show up again, I think this time Joe Barnes is the captain of the team. If they're able to do the same things they did in Kampala, I think they're very, very determined unit. They want to, they may not, they may think maybe let us let Uganda go, but they want to finish among the top 2 teams. And for me, I feel if we're able to beat them, normally Hong Kong loses steam when they see it is a lost cause. They will probably give up, and in the 3rd round they won't show up too much. So you want to make sure that I'm hoping that we come out of this tournament when we are 4 points ahead of the person who is in 2nd place, because that would mean that we need to lose at least 2 games in the 3rd round for them to catch up, and maybe then we sort ourselves on net run rate. But Italy, very, very strong team. Like I said, we just haven't seen their team, but I feel that it's going to be more or less the same. And smaller boundaries, you also will get to worry because of the way they were hitting the ball here. Emilio Nikoge scored a lot of runs here with so much ease on very big grounds and big boundaries. So we don't know what kind of it has been. It's winter time in Europe. I don't know if they've trained too much together as a unit, but they were a group of seasoned professionals. They understand the assignment, and as long as we can get over that barrier, I think we are as good. We should be able to progress.
I was talking about more of Australia because I get to feel that most of their big players are playing in Australia. So I get that feel that if they do know well a lot about the conditions there, it may be a little bit harder for us.
No. The Australian conditions. Australia is a seeming place, and good players, especially players at that level, they are always very, very good against pace. They can struggle against spin, but pace bowling, they just line up the ball and go through the line. You drop one shot, they hook it for a 6. So sometimes players like those will never be troubled by pace bowling. They might be troubled by very good spinners, but they will never be troubled by pace bowling. So that is also going to be a challenge. That's why I said we need Juma Miyagi and Cosmas Cheuta to be on their A game to get us some early inroads and very good wickets and quick wickets.
Talking about attaining ODI status, as we edge to the close, what is there in between balancing that pressure of attaining ODI status and looking at what is ahead? Because always we have games in front of us, but also we have that thought that, you know what, we have to attain ODI status. What is the balance of pressure in between there?
In cricket, we normally say pressure is a privilege. So the Challenge League is sort of sitting an exam, and you know that when I do my POE and I do well, I'll go to Senior 1, but I'll get 4. If I get 4, I'll go to my first choice school, maybe Budo, whatever it is, or Gaza High School. So that's the sort of pressure that you have, because there will be no point in playing. You don't want just to play for trips. Itulagawa, no. Uganda now is past that level. Maybe there are teams that are at that level, but Uganda is no longer at that level. We were very close last time. We played the Challenge League, finished 2nd behind Jersey, and then missed out on net run rate. All these players, they are guys who are they are at the back end of their careers. There's no going back. Everything has to be moving forward. If you can't move the team forward, then you will be left out of the team, so that they get players who can take the team forward. So now the team is forward looking. It's not looking backwards anymore. Oh, we don't want to be comfortable somewhere. That as long as we Challenge League, it's okay. No, we want to move forward. And ODI is the next level. A next level for not just this generation of players, but a big generation behind them of players. That next level takes us to so many things. We get to play more cricket right now because of being in the Challenge League. We can only play a total of 15 games in a cycle of 3 years. If we go to the next level, we shall be able to play 36 games in a cycle of 3 years. So that's a big difference. And at that level, you're playing cricket on a home and away basis. It's not tournament based, that this tournament in Kampala, then the next one in Hong Kong, then the other one in Tanzania. No. it's a home and away basis. We go to Netherlands, they come here. We go to Oman, they come here. We go to Namibia, they come here. We go to Canada, they come here. That's next level cricket, and that's where I want to go. When we go to that next level, everything is next level. The amount of cricket we play, the amount of money we are receiving because of being at that level. So this generation of players is the one to take us to the next level. We are no longer comfortable with average. We've been to the World Cup. The same generation of guys have taken us to the World Cup. So there are certain levels that we have skipped. And if you're in the team and you're not a next level player, then they will leave you out, because there are so many other young boys who have shown that maybe they can push the envelope and take the team to the next level.
Oh, a good thing to know, but the noting point for me is always the money, that the money will increase. And then he says it with a lot of confidence. But as we do our daily jobs, I think every day, of course, there is one task most of the time that you align to and told that this must be completed. But there are more others that come within that range, and you have to do them. It is almost part of the other one, but of course it's not said to you at the beginning that you must do that. That's why I bring in our coaching staff. What more role, or what role do they do on these teams that is more than just going to the pitch tomorrow, writing down a list, and we are selecting this player has to go, the other player has to go? What more do they do, most especially in the development side that we were talking about earlier?
Yeah, cricket coaching is a bit weird. I remember the team played in 2021 in Rwanda in those qualifiers, and both coaches spent that whole time in the hospital, Lawrence Mahadlani and Jackson Ogwang, but the team won the tournament. So cricket coaching, especially at that national team level, is a bit different. You can be non-existent. I'll give you an experience. We played in a ground in when we were going to the World Cup. We played somewhere in India, but the coach would sit so far that you only see him later in the day. So he literally had zero influence on what was happening on the pitch and what was going on. So at the national team level, it's difficult for a coach to implement, to basically change so much about your game or to implement anything. And when you hear Abhi Sharma speaking, he speaks with an intelligence that what I need to do is I need to give Jeremiah the confidence that he can be able to deliver on his own and create an environment that allows them to do what? To do well. So that's the sort of level at the national team. At the development level is where there's a lot of coaching. You know that stuff. When you, sometime maybe this year we shall go together to Gulu and Fort Portal for the schools tournaments. You see a lot of coaches doing those things. That's where there's a lot of coaching at that level. And that's where the hard work is for us as Uganda Cricket. Now we need to skill those level 1 coaches very, very. We need to skill them, take them from level 1 coaches to level 2 to level 3, because they are interacting with the young ones at an early age. They need to be teaching them the right things. By the time these kids come through to reach where Abhi Sharma is, or Lawrence Sematimba on the Victoria Pulse setup, there's no coaching at that level, literally. The coach at that level is just creating an environment where the skills they've learned when they were coming up can be able to come out, they can freely express themselves. So the decision making is most times left to the captain and the whole unit as a group. What sort of culture do you have as a group that will help you go to the next level? So the coaches at the national level don't do much, but down here at the development level, that's where a lot of work is, and the association is making sure that all those guys go through training. There's already a level 2 coaching course that is going to happen very, very soon. You need to make sure that these ones who interact with the young ones have the right skills to pass on to the players, so that by the time they graduate to the national team level, there's not so much to ask. When you're out of form, you just go back to your first coach, Coach Vigani, and then he can find a way for you.
Thank you very much. On that part, I think is when we shall have more of conversations, because I get to feel that I have a lot of questions. Most especially, I'm more of a, yes, we talk about men's cricket most of the time, but I'm more of the girls' part of cricket. It's what I love more to work on. But as we close the session of the ICC Cricket World Cup, Challenge League B second round, what lessons do you think these boys are going to be Okay, which corrections from the first round are we taking into work in the second?
That's a question we tried to ask the coach, and his experience was the same teams, and they don't want to take anyone for granted. They knew the first round sort of gave them an insight into what is going to come, how Italy pushed us, how Hong Kong pushed us. So the lessons there was to learn how to persevere in difficult situations. How do we get out of them? Who are the best people to get out of these situations? So those are the sort of maybe because before you played each other, you don't know what can this one do, but then you see Italy playing here, and you're like, hey, okay. And so the next time you come up against them, you're also coming there to push yourself a bit more and not to give up. So I think the biggest lesson both coaches mentioned was persevering under pain, making sure if the team has put you under pressure, stay patient, don't panic, like how they did against Italy. Were under the pump, but somehow were able to rescue the game back into our favor. So I think that was the biggest lesson for them. Now they already go there knowing that small boundaries, a wicket that can favor speed, pace, sim bowling, meaning Cosmas and Juma Miyagi, you need to be fit. We need to look after you. So I think they've done their homework very well, and they want to make sure they are successful. Hopefully that everything comes together for them, and they can be able to get the results that they desire. I have a feeling they'll get 4 out of 5. I'm being generous to other teams. Maybe we'll lose one game, but 4 out of 5 I think should be a good one for us.
A good one, 4 out of 5, Dennis says. But as we close, the last thing is I would like you to tell the people out there, the cricket fanatics, they would like to watch his games. Where can they get them? How can they extend their support to the boys?
Yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, that's a very important point. For the Tri-Series, if you want to watch the games, first of all, they are going to be very early. But thank God school has started for the kids. When you're taking the kids to school, you can be able to teach them. But the Tri-Series, if you go to the Cricket Hong Kong YouTube channel, you can be able to follow the games. But the tournament proper will be on ICC TV, icc.tv. If you're using a browser, but you can download the ICC TV app. You still have to be able to follow the games. All the games will be starting at 4:30 a.m. Ugandan time. So some morning preps for us, but we shall make sure that we follow the boys religiously.
You're talking about us following, but their games have been told to. Okay, I was told the same statement. You'll be following it up. So I woke up very early in the morning, my 5:30. I've gone to follow the game. So in my mind it was like I'm going to watch it. On opening the app, nga game teraga choka is ready for the under 19. I was watching my good friends are from Nigeria, and so are we sure that it is going to be there in video form whereby everyone is going to be watching the action strictly?
Yeah, in video form proper. There's no missing that on ICC TV. That's a sure guarantee that the games will be there. I know we try to follow the under 19 girls, and some games weren't there, but these pathway events are always streamed on the ICC TV, so you're sure to catch the game. But we've done this before. We're together in Rwanda following the team in West Indies. We'll dose later after the game is finished.
Any last words, Dennis?
I would just like to thank you guys, Jeremiah and Kaketo, for doing this, putting this together. The effort that you put in now, it's not just an interview, behind the scenes, editing and all. Thank you very much for giving cricket a platform for us to talk to your viewers. And whenever, you have time for us, I always make sure I also have time and make sure and come and we have a conversation.
I think we are also very glad to always have you. Kaketo Gonzaga has been behind on the camera, the male cricket journalist.
Journalist of the year, not male.
He's the journalist over here, not even male. Kaketo buyinjanga watwala bungi. But anyway, that has been our time on the site, and we've been talking cricket. We shall be back here next week probably, and we shall still be talking cricket. This is our time for now. Bye.